Our next speaker is a good friend of mine, Sita Subramony. She has been CMO for quite a few corporations and also helping develop some brands locally. Today, she is involved in the retail scene, and she's going to talk to you about brand storytelling in the retail space, the new competitive advantage. Ladies and gentlemen, Sita Subramony.
Hi, morning everyone. Great to see so many amazing people from all sorts of industry and agencies and media owners and everything. It's really, really exciting. And first off, I have to say thanks to Ham for getting Shopper Intelligence to come and share our thoughts with you on what we think marketing should evolve to. Ham first spoke to me about being a speaker at today's conference back in January. And, you know, Chris, who is my partner and the founder of Shopper Intelligence in New York, we were thrilled. But we were even more thrilled when the topic finally came out, which was around March, I think. And when Ham said it's the art of conversation, you know, you should have seen Chris and I over the Viber. We were like, woohoo, because this is something that we've been working on for the last 1 year, okay? We've done a lot of work for all sorts of clients across not only Asia, but a lot on US, obviously, because Chris is there. And we started, you know, a lot of clients were saying, hey guys, you know, great stuff. You know, you've got insights. You're really trying to help us to come up with new marketing strategies, yada, yada. And then we said, yeah, but we've got to take this one step further. And going along the art of conversations is brand storytelling. And this is a concept that Chris and I have developed a lot, especially over the last year. And how can any organization, whether you're an agency that's working with clients, and whatever industry you're in, whether you're in fast-moving consumer goods, banks, airlines, whatever, how do you start building sustainable competitive advantage, okay? Now, if you look at what marketing has been focused on, obviously, marketing is focused on creating revenue, isn't it? Generating revenue through transactions, whether you're selling products or services. Now, this approach has been great. It's brought us to where we are today, yeah? But is it enough for all of us in this room to be able to sustain new transactions in the future, okay? Now, how many of you, and I can know that like 70% or 90% of you, because this has happened all over the world when we ask this question at seminars and conferences, how many of you have realized minor share gains, only to lose it to your competitor a quarter, 2 quarters later, or even a year later, okay? Sustainability is the key here. Now, the current state of marketing, because the world has changed so much, everything has changed. The retail environment, supply chain, technology, even the consumers and shoppers of our products and services have changed so much. So what has it done to marketing today? It's really diluted it. You have no choice. You have to start becoming tactical. So what was once a strategic discipline has now dissolved, okay? Regardless of whether you are an agency, a media owner, a manufacturer, a retailer, I ask you this. How many functions within your company, in your organization, end with the word marketing these days, okay? You've got the brand marketing team, the trade marketing team, the digital marketing team, the social marketing team, and then you also have then the consumer and the shopper marketing team, okay? It's so diluted. And what we are saying is that if you continue to work in this tactical manner, you will never have a sustainable, strategic, competitive advantage. We need to evolve into a new marketing philosophy. Simply because, face it guys, we are dealing with a new generation of shoppers and consumers, aren't we? Yeah? So what we in Shopper Intelligence foresee, and we believe very strongly in this, is that the only way to have true competitive sustainable advantage is you have to start building emotional relationships. You use that emotional relationships to then sell your products and services. Emotion is going to be the new currency that any marketing department function in any organization has to use. The currency that we're using today is actual currency. It's ringgit, okay? And I ask you this, price promotions, regardless of what industry you are in, yeah? Price promotions, how much is that costing you? Okay? It's funny, last year, the marketing director of the major retailer in Malaysia, who shall remain unnamed, was telling me, and she said, you know, Sita, I have 1 million over loyalty card members, yeah? I don't know what to do with them. Other than sending them promotional data, price promotions every weekend and so on, there's no way that I can engage them in a conversation. I don't know what they think. I don't know what they do. I don't know what matters to them. And I said, well, you know what? You've got all the data, but please start doing something with it. They are in the process of doing something about it, but again, it's about having a conversation that's meaningful at an emotional level with your shoppers, with your consumers, that's going to give you that edge. And in terms of how do you get to that emotional level, that's where the role of storytelling comes in. Storytelling, we know that it is going to bring marketing back to the strategic role that it once had in any organization. It is telling the story about brands at such a fundamental level of shoppers and consumers, something that addresses their attitudes and beliefs, not their behavior, but attitudes and belief, that is going to connect to them at that level that no competitor will be able to take that away from you, okay? Great, Sita. So how do we tell the story? Clearly, you need insights, yeah? Insights will give you, it is the wellspring of the inspiration and the creativity that is going to help you create amazing brand stories that resonate at such a deep emotional level. Again, allowing your shoppers and consumers to automatically deselect their competitors. However, insights are insights. Storytelling and storytelling, it's a great concept in theory, right? Okay? But unless it results in an amazing communication, yeah? And I mean, you know, whether you're using Moving Walls or Malay Mail or Ham's marketing magazine, but unless it translates into that, a piece of communication that goes down to the level where it starts getting to the emotional level of a consumer and shopper, that's what it's going to be. It's just going to be a theory, okay? Now, what we'd like, shopper intelligence, what we'd like you to take away today is this, okay? That storytelling can give your brand a sustainable competitive edge, that insights are the key to creating that story that connects emotionally, not behaviorally, and finally, translating that insight into an amazing communication that will tell a story that captures your shoppers and consumers' most valuable asset, guys. Their attention, and at the end of the day, their money. That's what we all want, okay? How can we use stories? The first part, yeah? How can we use stories? What we're trying to do is not tell a story, but it's getting to communication to an emotional level of a consumer and shopper so that they start telling brand stories. They start spreading the stories. We know, all the research shows that word of mouth, whether it's online, whether it's over a tea party or a glass of wine, it is the word of mouth that starts spreading, okay, a true emotional bond that people have with each other, and the story has to be about you know, something emotional. We tell stories. I mean, some of the quotes that Ham had put on earlier, famous people talking about what it is to have conversations. Human beings are the only talking animals in the world. We tell stories. We remember things. All our memories are through stories. I'm sure all of you, when you're driving up, you know, to and fro work or to the market and whatever, and you've got your radio on, and some song comes on, doesn't that like trigger off a memory that you had? And then you start thinking about the story of the memory of that song. You know, hey, it was during this song I had my first kiss, or, you know, this is when my dad told me he's buying me a car. We live like that. We create stories. Put a bunch of us together. How do we relate things? We tell stories. It's natural. It's innate in us. Okay? But the trick here is to create that emotional loyalty. Yeah? Telling stories that create emotional loyalty. Once again, it is so that you grab the attention of your consumer and shopper and engage with them and inspire them then to buy your brand. Okay? Going back to insights. Now, tapping into emotions is the most difficult thing. Any researcher or any marketing director, anyone involved in looking at insights will tell you that looking for the emotional driver that triggers someone to remember your brand and triggers a story emotionally is really difficult to do. What we used to do in the past, we use quantitative data, right? You've got shopper data, loyalty data, all sorts of data. You can never find a true emotional trigger by using quantitative data, okay? And that's something that we feel very strongly about moving away from that and finding the emotional drivers that are going to get your consumers and shoppers to remember your brand. They are like diamonds, yeah? Very difficult to find. But once you've dug it up and you've polished it, you've got the right communication, it's going to be priceless. And you're going to use that priceless emotion, which doesn't change. That's the best part about creating emotional loyalty. Because unlike behavioral loyalty, emotional loyalty, which goes down to one's beliefs and attitudes, that never changes. So you're hitting someone at such a basic level, yeah? They're locked into you for life. I was sharing with some of the speakers earlier that I was with a leading beverage manufacturer yesterday, and they were telling me, oh, Sita, we've got a real issue because this marketing department thinks that shopper marketing is like this. And then we're the ones who have to go and talk to the modern trade, the Tesco's and the Mydins and the giants of the world, and we have to execute it. So I said, so what does trade marketing do for you? Oh, they give us insights. Great. What kind of insights do they give you? Oh, they said that in Tesco, 70% of customers walk into the drinks aisle, but only 30% buy. And I was going, guys, that's not an insight. Seriously, that's a fact, okay? The insight is, why are only 30% buying a product? Did they buy your brand? Why did they buy your brand, or why didn't they buy your brand? Yeah? And it was quite sad because I had to also share my experience about the fact that I used to be a loyal customer of one of their brands and how I lost any emotional loyalty I had to that brand. Because, you know what? Their communications changed over the years, okay? What used to resonate with me at such a deep level because, it's an isotonic drink. And the messaging before used to be, wow, you do something hard and you sweat and everything and you reward yourself with this drink. And it was like, whoa, I used to look forward to drinking it. You know what? Now I've not only switched brands, I've gone down to just taking oral hydrating salts, okay, which cost far less. No brand loyalty, no emotions left anymore. So in translating these insights to that emotional level, it has to be communications, obviously, that tell a story. We've got to start moving away from your typical communication that deals with product attributes, that deal with promotional manipulation and creative tricks, yeah? And we have to start then going at a deeper level. The communications that tell a story, and I'm going to share a very good example with you very shortly. I've got about 6.5 minutes left. Again, that's what's going to win the loyalty that you want with your consumers and shoppers. And we in Shopper Intelligence have a very simple formula for this. Connect with your shopper and consumer. Grab their attention. Connect with them at an emotional level. You engage them. And okay, so when you connect with them at their heart. When you engage with them, tell the brand story that is relevant to not only your brand, but to the category that they're shopping in. So that is the mind. Then you inspire them, okay? Getting them to purchase your brand, and that is their wallet, all right? Now, I'm going to now share with you an example. Before any of you, this is laundry detergent. The category is laundry detergent. Very boring, you know, we need it, and so on. And particularly, it is a client that we worked with. Before any of you whip out your smartphones and so on and Google Imagine Earth, it is a fictitious brand name. We had to change the name to protect our client in the US, so it doesn't exist. But this is a laundry detergent category that's a bit more specialized. It was environmentally friendly, okay? So, now this brand you can Google, it's real. They're not our clients, so you can happily Google it, okay? Now, the brand was Method. Method's philosophy of addressing their consumers and shoppers is, when it comes down to it, we are here to make products that work for you and for the planet. Ones that are easy on the eyes and the nose. Their product attributes: cleans effectively, very safe for you and your family, green for the environment, obviously, designed to be beautiful, pay attention to that, designed to be beautiful, and natural fragrances. Our client, after much insights work with the target audience, the target market that they were going after, their philosophy, which we wrote for them: people learn by exploring the world and getting dirty. That's why we see the outdoors as the greatest classroom. Don't fear dirt, embrace it, okay? Similar attributes, okay, removes dirt and stains effectively despite being organic and so on, safe for you and your family, green for the environment, and natural fragrances. Okay, so let's look at their taglines. Method, their tagline was, for the love of clean. Imagine Earth, takes dirt out, leaves in the learning, okay? Let's see how this translated into communication. First, packaging. Now look at the packaging. Remember the one additional attribute that Method had, which was designed to be beautiful? Wow, look at their packaging compared to the typical other packaging. Now, but look at the messaging on each of the packaging. They talk about the same thing. They talk about the fact that they are green, they're environmentally friendly, and that they have natural fragrances. The only difference here was that Method came up with a beautiful packaging. So, not your usual jug, so in an aisle, it will stand out, yeah? But otherwise, no difference in the communication. Look at Imagine Earth's packaging. It tells a story, okay? At one glance, it just tells a story. It shows kids running about, digging up worms, jumping in the mud, okay? It starts to resonate at an emotional level, not at a functional level, okay? Taking this one step further, Method thought they had, a good cutting-edge kind of entry into the market by this packaging. Yes, it was great because, it comes in pumps, so it doesn't come, you don't have to pour it out, so there's no spillage and so on. And you'll see that they've actually focused on those attributes at the bottom, yeah? Smarter, easier, greener, very attribute-driven. They went on for their print ads, again, very function-based. Are you ready to clean happy, like us? This was how they translated it, okay, to messaging. And here's the funny thing. Method actually had a very good brand story behind it. They wrote their brand story, but for some strange reason, they didn't follow through in their communications, okay? Unlike Imagine Earth, our client, this is what they said. And I know the words at the bottom there is very, so I'll read it out to you. I mean, it's there. Celebrate jumping into muddy puddles. Kids learn by being kids, and that means they'll get dirty. Thankfully, our plant-based detergents lift dirt and grease just as effectively as those with harsh chemicals, while our natural ingredients protect the environment. We keep our kids' favorite classroom clean for the next session. Another simple, everyday way to protect the planet. Another execution that we had, celebrate digging worms, okay? And you'll see the copy is slightly different, but again, ending with that tagline, another simple, everyday way to protect the planet. Landing it in store, typically, this was what some of the competitors did, okay? Same old boring thing. we came up with this. So not only did we take that entire digging in the mud and digging the worms and so on, we came up with Celebrate Chasing Butterflies. Okay, if you see the header board at the top, okay? So it started to resonate at such an emotional level for such a boring category like laundry detergent, because it was telling a story emotionally. We promised to share the brand story for Imagine Earth, and unfortunately I got it to Ham a bit last minute, so it's not been printed out, but you will be getting an email copy of it, yeah? It's a 6-page document, it's a beautiful narrative, and you will see how, using that brand story that we wrote, we were able to translate, well, first and foremost, gather the insights that connected at an emotional level, and then translate it to fantastic communication. So I leave you with that. That's what Shopper Intelligence we do for our clients. We actually help them craft emotional meaning to win their hearts, minds, and the wallets of their shoppers and consumers. Okay, thank you.